Welcome to this completely unbiased and wildly chaotic video featuring Grand Theft Auto 5. The following content may include reckless driving, criminal behavior, bad decisions, loud explosions, and the destruction of criminal property. During these videos, I may also talk about pop culture, internet nonsense, celebrities, movies, games, and people in the chat. Any jokes, sarcasms, exaggerations, or insults directed at people, public figures, fictional characters, corporations, trends, or anything else are clearly comedic commentary and opinion, and are not statements of fact, nor representations of my real-life views or beliefs. This video is purely entertainment. Everything shown happens inside a video game where the laws of physics, morality, and traffic safety are optional. No real crimes were committed in the making of this video. No real people were harmed. No real allegations are being made about anyone living or dead. In fact, if it sounds ridiculous, then guess what? You guessed it. It probably is. If you are easily offended, allergic to sarcasm, or have a hard time placing your personal biases aside, feel free to leave now. Just being unbiased, y'all. Viewer discretion is advised.
I can't stand bigotry of any kind. As a matter of fact, it is one of the things that I just will not tolerate. I'm not intolerant at all. As a matter of fact, I'm unbiased. That's why I exist. But I am frustrated when I see clear exclusionary behavior and practices being exhibited by people who claim to be upholding some type of moral high ground. So when I was scrolling on my timeline and I saw this most recent article from the New York Times, it pissed me off. The article's title says, Olympic Committee bars transgender athletes from women's events. And I already knew what this was. I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. The article starts by saying the International Olympic Committee has barred transgender athletes from competing in women's categories of Olympics and said that all participants in those events must undergo genetic testing. Oh boy. Now, I knew that Kirsty Coventry, whenever she got elected president, she was going to start ruffling some feathers. But I mean, ever since last year when she got elected, she been shaking things up in the IOC. Now they got this new rule where you have to basically have a cheek swab and a blood sample possibly to verify whether or not you're a biological male or female. And why do they need to verify this? Oh, Kirsty, she made it very clear. She said at the Olympic Games, even the smallest margins can be the difference between victory and defeat. Ms. Coventry said in this statement that it's absolutely clear that it would be not fair for biological males to compete in the female category. In addition, in some sports, it would simply not be safe. And I agree with her on that statement, but hold on, Kirsty. If I'm not mistaken, it says that they have been barred from women's events. I've said this in one of my most recent videos, and let me go ahead and do this sale real quick. I've said this in one of my most recent videos, and I will say it one more time for the people in the back. Every man is not a male, and every female is not a woman. Traditionally, males have protected females because they have a womb. In society, we call the one without a womb a man. We call the one with a womb, presumably, a womb man. Womb man, meaning you have a womb. And these two social constructs have sports in which they compete in. Traditionally, if you're a biological male, you compete in sports that are labeled as men's sports. And also traditionally, if you are biologically a female, you would compete in sports that were labeled as women's sports. But see, Kirsty just messed up. Because in that quote I just read to you from that article, I'll link it in the comments. And if you have any type of discussion that you want to have over the article, you need to comment under the comment that I pinned. Don't be commenting about the article in the main comments, y'all. Comment about the article under the pinned comment. Now back to my statement. She said that this is all based on science, because she said that biological males should not compete against females in the women's sports category. Well, Kirsty. I don't know if you realize what you're saying when you say them, but see, that's why I said our society messed up. Our social constructs really have put us in this pickle because we made it seem as if man and woman were interchangeable words for male and female, and they're simply not and never will be. That's why I had to break it down like a fraction for y'all to let y'all know the truth of the matter, especially in this age that we're moving into. People are starting to take words and manipulate them, but we have certain inclusive and exclusive language that we use to define certain things. Male and female are exclusive terms, meaning you're either or, this or that. Man and woman, inclusive. Hate to break it to you, but that's the way we set up our social constructs. Now we need to fix them so people can understand what it means to exclude one another. So we don't have all of this bigotry going on right now. Because I feel like that's what this decision was rooted in. I know that this was rooted in bigotry. Because people really aren't using words the way they should be used. They're not defining things properly. I would have no issue if you said that biological males should not compete in biological female sports. But when you say that biological males shouldn't compete in women's sports, that's where I gotta disagree. Because a biological male can identify as a woman. And a biological female can identify as a man. Because y'all have turned being a man and a woman into characteristics. They're not biological facts. Bring it back to nature. And then maybe we can have a discussion. Meaning y'all got to change the definition of things. No longer can you say that this is women's sports. You can't say this is men's sports. You have to say that this is male sports and female sports. And then we need to find a space that can include everyone else. I'm so frustrated with the Olympics. I am. And I'm upset because we as a society should know better. Everybody in our species should have a space that they can feel like they are appreciated and validated. If we can, there are some nomads and outliers. I'm not talking about the outliers because the outliers don't make the rules. Y'all are so always focused on the exception that y'all forget the rule. And the rule is there's a space for everybody on this rock. I just wish there was some other space that could provide year-round sports training and athletic competition and variety of Olympic type sports for children and adults. I just wish that there was some space that would give them opportunities to develop their physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and appreciate in the sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their friends and family and people in their community. If there was only a space that provided those type of sports that they like to play, like basketball, flag football, actual football, soccer is what I'm referring to, surfing, volleyball, swimming, track and field, powerlifting. I just wish there was some type of Olympic organization that had this type of structure. And if there is some type of organization out there that has this type of structure and they have not stepped up, then shame on them. I'm speaking to the board of that place right now. Look at me. I'm speaking to y'all right now because if you are on that board and you have not stepped up for your displaced brothers and sisters, then you are a brazen coward and a hypocrite. Yes, the lot of you, all of you, every last member of that organization are hypocrites because these people are being displaced in real time. They need special accommodations, special requirements. You all need to create a special space for these people so they can feel like they belong. There's got to be some organization that has that. These people are a very small minority in a big group that is constantly doing things to invalidate them. And what do I mean by that? By putting an asterisk next to somebody's record, that is invalidating. Imagine how that could feel to somebody. I've worked and trained my butt off to be able to compete in this sport, and you're going to put an asterisk next to all of my hard work? No! We need to find some organization, some space that will allow that. Somebody right now in the comments down below, before I continue, please drop the name of any type of Olympic organization that will provide this type of inclusionary events. Wait a second. There might actually be an Olympic organization that I can think of that provides just that type of infrastructure. A place that's diverse and inclusive and will include everybody that has special requirements and special needs. Why hasn't this type of organization stepped up yet? Yes, y'all know exactly who I believe needs to step up and provide a special space for their displaced brothers and sisters. I'm looking at you, Special Olympics. I'm looking right at y'all. You see the International Olympic Committee excluding people that have accommodations that are not being met. You already have the infrastructure in place. You accommodate 24 plus sports and events that these people love to compete in anyway. Why not provide a special place for your displaced brothers, sisters, and others at the Special Olympics? I'm looking right now. Let me look this up. Let me check real quick. Hold on. Y'all give me a moment. I'm finna see. Because I know every company at one point put one up. So I know they got one. Let's check it out. Hold on. I'm looking, y'all. Give me a moment. Okay, boom. Here we are. Special Olympics official general rules. Yep, I'm on y'all head top now. I didn't know where this was going, but you know what? Now that it's on my brain, I'm looking y'all up. Move out the way. Move out the way. Anyway. Diversity and inclusion statement. Here we are, folks. Here it is. I'm going to read it for y'all, just so y'all know what we're talking about. Diversity and inclusion are at the heart of Special Olympics as we strive to promote the gift of unity among all people. We build communities of acceptance, are inspiring athletes, loving families, inspired employees, coaches, volunteers, and fans. We are one movement in every community in every country. We honor and celebrate our differences to build a global team reflecting the beauty of the human spirit. We aspire not only to include people with intellectual disabilities in all areas of our operations, programming, and events, but also to transcend all boundaries of race, disability, gender, geography, national origin, religion, political philosophy, and sexual orientation. We recognize diversity and inclusion may require different strategies internationally. So there you have it, folks. In their diversity and inclusion statement, move out the way, they're willing to do it. So why haven't they done it? I believe that these transgender athletes deserve a special place at the Special Olympics. How about it, folks? Let's get the petition going right now. Get the board of directors on the line right now and let them know that they are being blatant hypocrites by not creating a space for their displaced brothers, sisters, and others. The Olympic community is always talking about what's an advantage and what's a disadvantage. And I do truly believe that being a biological male competing against biological females is completely wrong, especially in sports that require physical effort. Now, mentally, it can sort of be a fair playing field in certain places, and sometimes it can be completely mismatched because it's all about your intellect. But when we get off of the internet and look at people's biological makeup, it's very clear that the male part of our species is innately stronger than the female part of our species. Physically. Just innately. And we could talk about that from the form of muscles, but even when you talk about childbirth being difficult, getting kicked in the nuts is There's no walk in the park. Not comparative in any shape, form, or fashion. Both carry life. I'm just saying. So when we talk about putting people in their proper place and in the proper positions, I believe the Special Olympics has a duty to these people to create an environment. Yeah, even in places like weightlifting and track and field, we're seeing people say that transitioning women and transitioning men should not compete against biological male and females. And I agree. We're all biologically male, female, or other based on your mutation. So I understand that we do need to have clear-cut places for people to be able to compete against one another. And I believe the Special Olympics is that very platform to get the job done. Why are they excluding these people? They need them now more than ever. Because if these people truly feel like men and women and they're still being excluded, and it's really not fair, because if they do feel like that and the society allows them to identify as such, why are y'all doing this to them now? When it clearly says men and women's sports. Unless you do what you should do, which I'm advocating for you to do, you need to change the terminology. You need to make it clear that this is sports for biological males and this is sports for biological women. And then you can create a space specifically for the Olympics for the transgender athletes to compete and be recognized and validated without being humiliated by having them put an asterisk next to their hard work. By having these people give them a gold medal and say this is gold medal A, and then give a woman a gold medal and say this is the real one though. That's hurtful. I hate, and hate is a strong word, exclusionary practices, principles, and behaviors. What I'm promoting is an unbiased way to include people in spaces that already exist for those that have special needs and accommodations that must be met. What's wrong with the Special Olympics? What's embarrassing about competing at a space that's for people that have special needs? There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You have special accommodations that need to be met. And eventually, when there's more people like you all, you can form your own leagues. But at least if we do this, if we set up the Special Olympics to be a space where you can at least compete in an Olympic type environment, we can inspire others that identify with the way that you're moving to compete. First with one another. Then eventually, we can melt the two in and we can have our own special type of sports where people that have all types of different intellectual disabilities, is what they're calling, can perform. I want to see a type of Olympics where you can take as many substances as you want. I don't advocate for that, but it'd be cool to see how far we can stretch the human body. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated and I'm saddened for this species. When we have something set up like the Special Olympics that can allow these transgender athletes to flourish, and we have not promoted it to them, not once. We haven't even made it a requirement for the Special Olympics to reach out to them to figure out a way to get it done. The nerve. Get these people a spot in the Special Olympics ASAP. And don't tell me you can't do it, because I just read the diversity and inclusion statement. It's in there. Y'all want everybody, every race, every disability, every gender, every geography, every national origin, every religion, every political philosophy, every sexual orientation should have a space at the Special Olympics. If you don't like it, change your policy and make it known that you're changing your policy because you don't want to include people, so we see where you stand. I'm just being unbiased. Just consider this, y'all. I'm not trying to tell you that you have to think like me. As a matter of fact, I know I'm probably all alone on this one. Yeah, I'm probably all alone on this one. Who's bold enough to rebel? Rebel. I'm out.